Hey everyone, how's it going? A couple days ago, I posted about a project that I was working on at work that was looking at stored procedures and actually pulling out the update statements from that stored procedure and bringing them into more of a metadata process. This can be used for a lot of different things if you're trying to scale and make things a little bit more organized as opposed to having a bunch of stored procedures all over your database and just have it in one specific spot that you can put a view over it or run a stored procedure that actually looks at that process and builds out the different stored procedures, if it's a backup file, or even if you're trying to use it for a data science purpose. Maybe you're trying to see how long each stored procedure runs for, what joins and what tables are actually being used in, if maybe the information schema isn't giving you all the things that you need. So I talked about this process on a post on LinkedIn a couple days ago. A few people wanted me to actually show how I was doing this, so that's what I'm planning on do for you here today. So the very first thing that I was going to show is here is a very basic stored procedure right here that I created. As you can see, it just updates like a sports table to the sports name of baseball, if the color is white of the ball, if the season is in summer, kind of the same thing with basketball here. And then one that actually does a couple of joins. I didn't really have any very creative ideas, so I just made a table A, table B, left join to table C, where C is null, so this is why you would do a left join here, and then Y, while A column 8 is Tuesday. No idea what you're trying to do here, but just wanted to try and give this type of example. The metadata table that we're actually interested in inserting into is this DBO process table. So it has a primary key, an update table, the update columns, so the columns are going to be updated, the update joins, so the different joins if there are any to that table, and then the where clause. So from here, if you actually brought this into a metadata process, you would be able to restructure it to go ahead and get you that full update statement. So this is going to be the output SQL, so I can show you what the final insert statements will look like. So the very first thing I wanted to show you was this read process 1. So I have read process 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this final process, kind of to give the different steps of this whole process and show you how I just don't go from 0 to 100, makes it a little bit more interesting and more easy to understand why my thought process is the way that it is. So the very first one that I'm going to do here is just open the process SQL file, which was this stored procedure, read in all the lines, and then print the lines. And then also, I'm making a list with each line. So I'm taking this list and I'm going to append each line from the file to this all lines. And then I'm going to print this list at the very end. So if we go ahead and run this, we show that here's the stored procedure that it runs, right? Everything that we just saw. And then from here, this is the list that has all of the lines. So you can see the first line was create procedure DBO process. First line, create procedure DBO.process. The second line is as, and then it goes from there. So the very last one, where primary key is null, where primary key is null, and column 8 equals Tuesday. These \n's are just for actually just an enter function. In my process, we will go through that and we'll get rid of those \n's, so it makes it a little bit easier to read. So that's just step 1. Step 2, we actually look for the update locations. So we're going to go through, and this enumerate function brings an index and the actual line to the list. So now we're looking for the line, making it upper, just in case I might have put update with a lowercase. I'm stripping it so any of the spaces or formatting won't get in the way. And then if it starts with an update, I'm going to actually bring in that location. So now I got rid of the print function for the all line. So now it's going to print the whole stored procedure again. But then it's going to show the update locations, and then it's going to show the first example of the update location. So it'll be printing the all lines from the first update location to the second update location. So it should, in theory, give us the very first update statement that we're making. So if we go ahead and go to process 2 and hit go, we have the same stored procedure that's run. Our update locations are 6, 14, and 22. If we look at it from just the all statements list, we have all the way through here, which gives us this update right here. And then as you can see, if we actually look at it, it will give us everything from the first update to the second update. So since this comment is here before this update statement is actually made, it brings that in. We'll go ahead and clean that up here in the next process. So process 3, I actually add in this new one right here called clean lines. So after we read in all lines, we go ahead and do clean lines, where if the line starts with a comment out, we're just going to pass on it. We're not going to bring that in. If it's not, then we actually are going to bring in that line to the clean lines, but we're going to replace those backslash ends with nothing. And that just cleans it up a little bit, makes it a little bit easier for us to read and interpret. Then the update locations now needs to go off the clean lines, not the all lines. So very important thing right there. So then finally, we're going to go ahead and actually print out the full update statement as a one string variable called full statement. I do this try except because if we're here looking at the range of the length of the update location. So this will make it easier if there's only one update location, if there's 55 update locations. This will give you the ability to look at each one specifically. However, you'll get an index error on the last one because you won't be able to do, if there's 55, for example, you won't be able to go from 55 to 56 because 56 doesn't exist. So the last one is just an exception, just looking at the rest of the script. And then we're getting rid of the end go, so we don't bring it back in to the stored procedure. Or we're excluding it from the stored procedure, sorry. So if we run this, process 3, we get each of these update statements. So there are 3 of them, and then it just spits out all of them in kind of a nice little format based upon what the stored procedure was in the first place. As you can see, it makes it much easier for us to try and figure out where the main table is getting updated, the where clause, if there are any joins. It makes it easy to actually look in these locations now. So now if we go to read process 4, I just did a couple of formatting functions here to make it a little bit easier to read on the output. So right now we're going to go ahead and do all of the same steps as before, but now I'm going to go ahead and start splitting the string at different locations to get the update table, the update columns, the update joins, and the where clause. So from each one of these, it looks for the from statement. For the update columns, we look at what's between set and from. From the update, it will be from and where. So, or for the joins, I'm sorry. For the joins, we're looking from and where. So there might not be anything from that from table, and there might not be anything prior to the where. So once that's done, we just take all of that. And then the where clause, we're just looking for where it says where, and then taking everything after it. So this will either be blank if there's nothing in the where clause, this can be blank if there's no joins, and then we're going to go ahead and actually print these out. So now, if we look at process 4, we have each update section, the actual update string, and then the information about that string. So the update, the table that we're updating is DBO Sports. The columns that are going to get updated are sport name is equal to baseball. There are no joins in this one. And then the where clause is just this. So it lines up with this. I personally like to do it in this format so I can actually see, did it work out well, and not just print it and just start going and trying to insert it into a database right away. I actually like to go through this process just because it makes it a lot easier to read. And now my human eyes can say, all right, let me look at this update statement. How do the joins look? We have a join to table B and a left join to table C. Exactly what it shows right here. Okay, cool, this is working fine. So the final process, or the final stored procedure, sorry, the final script that looks at this stored procedure brings it all together and actually inserts it into the process table database. One thing that I like to do is I actually like to print them out, like I said before, not actually insert them into the database, and then I can just copy and paste it into the database itself. All of the other formats, I also put the like /*. This is for T-SQL. So it will actually comment these out and just make it really easy for debugging purposes. If a insert bombs out, you can actually look and see where it might have misstepped. Another really important thing to also remember is that for inserting into a database, if you want these specific quotes around a string to be used appropriately, you need to make sure that you do a replace a single quote with a double quote. That will allow those insert statements to work much more appropriately. So finally, if we look at our final process, we're just going to copy the whole thing, go back, and now in our output SQL, we have the update section that's all commented out with these, with the actual update statement, the update table, the update columns, the update joins, and then this final insert into that process table. So this will actually just be insert into table, dbo.process table. Just a little syntax error by me. And so it shows the update table has been inserted here. The update columns are this. There's nothing in the update joins. You can make that a null if you want. And then the where clause. So from here, you would be able to actually do like a select star from process table where the update table is this. I leave the aliases in here just in case I want to actually rebuild it. You're going to have to have that alias, so for the joins, it actually starts to come together. Same thing, I like to include the actual join and left join, just because you don't know if it's going to be a left join, right join, inner join. You could do this for outer applies, anything along that nature. You're going to want all of that information brought into it. And that's it. Really simple, really easy. I probably put this together in 20 minutes, the actual Python script. It makes it a lot easier. Me and my coworkers were kind of in this weird spot where we're going to have to go through stored procedures that have hundreds of lines of update statements. And if we had to do that manually, just trying to figure out where the where clause is, you're risking a lot of different issues. You're risking human error if you just don't copy it right. Frustration just for the double quotes for everything. If you have something that updates on 55 specific codes that are strings, that's going to be a complete nightmare. This process makes it a lot easier. As long as you go through and do those print updates, you'll be in a really good shape, and you'll look good. Me and my coworker were laughing about how long that was actually going to take if we didn't have this process in place. So makes everyone's day. It's really cool. Adds to your technical skills a little bit, and you'll understand what to do in the next time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.